Record now. And like I said, today we're going to look at an overview of Windchill PLM. So Zach, you have control. Take it away, my friend.
All right, thanks, Rob. Sorry
Thank
everyone
you.
for the delay there, um, but we're getting into it now. So we'll be going through a Windchill overview. If you're not familiar with it, essentially Windchill is a platform that enables you to manage all of your data from a ton of different data sources, your documents, your CAD, and then also provides version and access control, change management processes, workflow management, integration with other systems. This is a core piece of the digital thread. You hear that word all the time. This is really where it all starts. So taking a look at the Windchill system here, I want to start just by showing you what the landscape of Windchill looks like. What you're seeing here, this is really out of the box Windchill. So whenever you buy Windchill and you ask for Windchill PLM, this is what you're getting. It's a very robust core offering. Some of the stuff you would expect, some other capabilities are ones that you might not be familiar with, but I'll cover them here. So when we say core Windchill, we're talking about all of your document management, version, iteration control, access control for all the documents, all the CAD from different sources. It doesn't have to be PTC's CAD solution, Creo. It could be SolidWorks or CATIA or NX or AutoCAD or Inventor. The list kind of goes on forever there. The same idea with ECAD data management. So Altium is a big one that we work with all the time. And what you'll do is you'll bring all of these different types of data into your bill of materials. So this is going to be your structure that's describing the object, right? And we do we have very powerful bill of materials management capabilities to fully describe your product. You're not just limited to essentially a model tree, which is what a lot of other systems will offer you. We give you basically a bill of information where you can put everything in there that describes what your product is. Building on that, all of these different boxes that you see outside of that core box in the middle, these are all of the different modules and capabilities that we have on top of that core offering. So you can get these a la carte. You can also just there's different packages that you can have multiple or all of them or whatever. But it really just depends on what you're interested in, what applies to your company. If you're heavy on manufacturing, then manufacturing process management in the bottom left is going to be something you're going to want to look into so that you can create from your original bill of materials, you can create manufacturing BOMs, you can create work instructions and process plans and include maybe users in there and plant information. You might have different manufacturing facilities that do things slightly differently, and you want to capture that data within your PLM system. You're going to do that sort of thing here. You're going to manage quality, risk analysis, and reliability information. Work with different suppliers and components, and you're going to bring all of that into the product. This is the system that's going to fully define and manage your product from the concept phase all the way down through production and really until the end of that product's life. Now, the two boxes that I want to point out here that you might have noticed don't match the rest are ERP and ECAD. The reason these two are gray and they're not green is just because everything in green is natively sold through PTC. Okay, these are built and managed by PTC. PTC does not sell an ERP or an ECAD system. However, we work with people every single day that integrate with them to various extents. We're going to integrate, as I mentioned, with on the ECAD side, Altium, and some other tools as well. And on the ERP side, a ton of people that we work with have ERP systems. They integrate Windchill with their ERP systems, and there's a translation and a push and pull of data back and forth so that they can use their ERP system for the procurement side of things, let's say, and then the and then Windchill for the product management and manufacturing and service and engineering side of things. Okay, so that's really the differentiation between everything in here that's green and everything that's gray. That's all that I'm going to show you on a PowerPoint. I think at this point it'd be best just to hop into Windchill, and we'll give you a tour and show you what the tool's all about. All right. What you're looking at now, this is Windchill. This is the Windchill home screen. So you're logged in, just whatever your username and password is. And I'm accessing it on Google Chrome, but it's web-based, and you can just pick your favorite browser and look at it from there. It really doesn't make a difference which one. A lot of them are pretty similar. So you could use Internet Explorer, Firefox, or Chrome, or whatever you like. Now, the idea is once I log into Windchill, I want to see the data and the tasks and all the information that's relevant to me. I don't really care about seeing a lot of other stuff that the company is dealing with or that other departments are working with if I don't really have any need to see it. It's just going to clutter my screen. So what I do is you can come over here to the right, and there's a little customize drop down, and you just click on this. And if you want certain things on your home screen, I put them there by checking a box. If I don't want them there, I uncheck the box. Okay, if I wanted to put different things on my screen, maybe reports, but I still want to have my tasks first, then I just drag it to the order that I want. Right, so really, really easy to set this up. I always like to have tasks first. Part of the benefit of using Windchill is you're going to have workflows. Some of those workflows are going to be automated, and you're going to have different tasks and things that assign to you. Whenever someone else, let's say, signs off or completes their task within that workflow. So whenever I log in the morning, I want to open this up and I want to immediately see the tasks that I have front and center for me. All right. In the top right, just going through some interface here a little bit for a couple minutes, and then we'll get into the product. Above the customize dropdown is the recently accessed. This is pretty self-explanatory. I mean, here's just the different pages I've gone to recently. It really doesn't matter what type of object or what I'm looking at. Just hop back into it without having to do another search. So you actually end up using this a lot. Even though it's a basic feature, it's very handy just to jump back in something if you accidentally close the window or go to something else and then you forget, what you were looking at or how you found it. This is a nice little handy tool to use. In the top right, quick links drop down, just general links you can go to if you want to look at your preferences. If you want to go to the help center, if you have any questions or want to look at more information about Windchill, it's a good tool to use. And then also, if you want to look at like a import job monitor or visualization job monitor, we'll talk more about that here in a minute. You can just check the progress of those jobs as Windchill's executing them. See the progress, see how long till they're completed. All right. Now, when it comes to searching for information, this is an area where Windchill really, really does a good job at making your life easy. I've worked in these systems before at previous jobs. I know that they're not all this simple. You would think that searching is going to be such a straightforward thing to do, but it's just not in a lot of other systems. It's hard to find the information you want when you need it. So what we do is we make searching nice and easy. And there's a couple ways that we do that. The first one is just through your classic, type in your search. And we don't have to have an exact name or number. You want to type in a partial. Let's say you have like a 10-digit part number and you only know 4 of them. I could type in those 4. I don't even know if this is going to yield any results. But yes, it didn't. But the idea is make it easy. Type in what you're going to get results out of it. The other way to search is just through your browser. Okay, so if I want to come in here, I want to not type in anything. I just want to go through and maybe look at a product I have and dive into it that way. This is a really nice way to do that. You can see at the top of the browser, there's a bunch of different categories here that we call contexts. And these are basically just different containers for information. You can have products. That's really what we'll work with today. You can have libraries where you're going to see all of maybe your documentation for your quality documents, whatever. Have something for changes so that people can work almost in like a project sandbox of sorts. And you can have maybe suppliers have extremely limited access in there if you want them to be part of your workflows, let's say. Changes, there's a whole context just for changes. So across all of Windchill, you can go to changes and see, maybe here's all of the change requests that I have currently in work right now for our company, or here's all of the issues that have been documented over the last month. So I want visibility into that. I can see it from here. I can see the suppliers I'm working with, who those suppliers are. Are the suppliers preferred or approved? Or maybe even I had an experience in here that was bad. I documented with a supplier and I don't want to use them moving forward. We can capture all of this information. All right. For now, we are going to dive into a product, and I'll go ahead and open up this zero turn mower. I was going back and forth if I wanted to do the lawnmower or the snowmobile, but we'll do the lawnmower. So basically, think of this as just my product homepage. All right. So whenever I expand this, I have my product here, zero turn mower, all kinds of different buckets I can go into. And this just really makes it nice and easy to navigate through this product, go to different areas that I want to see. So the details is your product homepage. You can pick and choose what's shown here. Now, if you want to see maybe end items, okay, well, I only sell this lawnmower outright. So that's my only end item, but maybe I want to sell other parts as replacement parts here. Maybe those are end items I have listed as well. I want to see, maybe I want to go into the option pool and see different configurations or different options that we have for parts. I could go into there and even select on those. And then as we select on the different, see, I don't even have any in here. As we go in and select on the different options, it would actually reconfigure a bill of material based on what we have selected. Okay. From that browser, I also want to look at my team. So this is maybe more of an IT or admin type of thing, or maybe a project manager or something, product manager, if you want them to have some capabilities here. But the idea with this is, for this product, the zero turn mower, these are all of the different people that I have participating on this product or doing work on this product. And they have all kinds of different roles, and each one of those roles has different permissions and different capabilities. But if I'm the product manager and I'm someone who wants to quickly, maybe I just hired someone, I quickly want to come in here and add them, I can do that right from this screen, or I can even remove someone from the team. And once I've done it, configure the actions for their roles. Okay, so we have all kinds of different roles. You can see those here. And as a product manager, I want to come in and just quickly, without going to an admin or IT, I want to take away a team member's ability to copy and paste. So I just uncheck a box. Or what you also see, though, is I'm not the admin. I'm just a product manager. So I have a lot of capabilities. However, if you look at this guest column, there's a lot of things that I can't check and uncheck. So that's coming from whoever has control or oversight of the system. So we're trying to be more productive, maybe not require you to go to IT or an admin for everything. But if you want to have that level of security, then you can still do so. All right. Folders, this one's pretty self-explanatory. These are all the folders with all the documentations, all the documents, all the different maybe CAD files we have, design documents, everything that pertains to the zero turn mower. This structure for the folders will look exactly how it looks whenever you use your File Explorer. And that's by design because everybody uses File Explorer. Everybody's familiar with it. So it's just a really nice and easy structure and format that you can pick up and run with right away. All right. Moving into the actual product. This is where I'll say the main payload of this product is going to be looked at and worked with and manipulated. So my home internet's a little bit slow here, so this is going to take a second to load up the visualization. But the idea with this screen is when I go into a product and I go to the structure tab, then this is where I am going to see my bill of materials. It's where I'm going to be able to access all of the information that pertains and describes this product. And what you'll see is this product structure here. This has all my assemblies and sub-assemblies and everything. This works hand in hand with the visualization on the right. Okay, so this visualization is geometrically accurate to the CAD. And what happens is once you're integrated with your CAD system, between Windchill and your CAD system, as soon as you manage something into Windchill, Windchill can generate a visualization of that object for you. And this is awesome for especially all of the people who are going to be working in Windchill who aren't designers. It helps the designers too, but everybody else isn't quite as familiar typically with the product. They still need to know the ins and outs of it, but they're not the ones designing it, so they just don't know the product quite as well. What this is providing you is if I'm someone who maybe I'm a manager, a product manager, or let's say a manufacturing manager. I'm not involved in the design of this product. I generally know what's going on for everything, but I can actually come in here and even if I'm not someone who uses this system every day, I can use this to search, right? So maybe I want to click on the back seat here and the structure will highlight that for me as I select it on the visualization or the other way around. You know, if I select maybe in the structure, it'll highlight on the visualization. So it's allowing me an easy way to get in and look at the products and understand them and navigate through them. Now, the thing with Windchill here is within this, this is where we are very unique with our bill of materials management. What you'll see a lot of times, especially with just PDM systems, is this structure is just a copy of your CAD model tree. You can have that in Windchill for sure. But what's better and what we do better is we build this structure out of what we call WT parts. And that's what each of these gray gears are. And a WT part is simply a placeholder that acts like a bucket that you use to build out your product structure. So the structure itself, if you're just looking at the names, it might actually mimic your CAD model tree. However, it's not just a CAD file that represents that object. It's actually a placeholder bucket that represents that object that has my CAD file in it and also has other documentation, other data in there that describes it as well. You know, we don't just have, if I want to look at these armrests, it's not just a CAD model that I have for these. I might have documents, I might have requirements for those. I might have, let's say, a test case or calculations from your engineering calculation software that you use. I can put all of those different types of information into my WT part. And now if I were to expand this, then what you'll see is you can actually see all of the different types of information that pertain to any of these objects within this bucket. So in this case, it happens just to be CAD, but within this cover, I might have the CAD file there. Underneath it, I might have a document. I might have all kinds of different things. I don't know if this has anything either. No, it doesn't. And what the WT part is doing is it is relating all of that information. Okay, so you can see it here with the seat isolator. If I look at this, okay, well, I have my MathCAD load calculations, I have my assembly, and I have a document that are all in the bucket for this seat isolator. And what that does now is it relates them together. So if you go through and change the seat isolator, then what Windchill does is it grabs those other types of data, you know, these three files, and it says to you, hey, if you're changing the seat isolator, you have to look at these other documents and load calculations and assemblies and whatever, because they could be impacted by that change. Without the WT part, what you have to do is if you go to change the CAD file, then you have to say, all right, well, what other metadata or data is affected by that change. I have to go through all my files manually, and I have to pick and choose what could be affected by it. Windchill does that for you. And it makes sure whenever that part is changing that maybe these don't change, but at least you're aware that you have to look at it and determine if they need adjusted as well. Okay? That's the power of the WT part. Now, going through some of the other options that we have here, the WT part is at the core of all this, but you can have other filters where you're bringing in different information as different columns into this bill of materials. And you can export whatever is shown here. So maybe, if I wanted to have a column, let's say for, I don't know, sourcing status or manufacturer supplier. I could see in a column here who the supplier is, if I have a supplier, if they're an approved supplier, or maybe I don't want to use them. You can include really any type of metadata you want in here so that this can be your one-stop shop to see all the different information that you would need without having to go into digging for hours potentially to find that information. All right. What I also want to show you is another tool that we have that comes with a free version of it, comes with Windchill, is Creo View. And this is something that you can actually open it in Creo View here. Let me launch this and use this tool for a couple different things. You can use it to interrogate the part. So this could actually, if you're paying for any licenses to, let's say, Creo Parametric, but you're not changing anything, you're just using it to view, this could replace that license. It's a universal viewer that you can use to view, manipulate, take measurements, do all kinds of different things without actually having access to the CAD. So here, it opened it up. I have a little part here that I want to look at. If this was not a single level part, you would actually have the whole structure in here as well. So you can come into this, you can manipulate it, you can take measurements. It's just a representation of the CAD, but it's geometrically accurate. So for everyone who just wants to get an idea of the object, or maybe even what people do is they'll come in here, document a problem, and then save this straight to Windchill, and that will be documented as a problem report. So anybody involved in the change could look at this and they could say, oh yeah, Rob is the one who went into Creo View and added this comment on the model, pointed to the exact part that's damaged and said, or is malfunctioning, and said, hey, you need to change this thing to be 2 inches wide instead of 1 inch wide, or let's say it needs to be 1 inch wide instead of 2 inches wide because it doesn't fit whenever we try to assemble it. There's traceability there. It's easy to understand and convey what needs changed because it's in the context of the model, right? Whenever you're not doing that, I went through it firsthand. You send Skype messages or Microsoft Teams messages or whatever. You send an email to communicate a change, but there's room for misinterpretation there. Creo View is a good way to fix that. And now, just finishing this off, I want to go through a couple of these tabs here. So the structure one is the big one. You have related objects, and what's going to be here is just all of the different documents and CAD and everything, alternate parts, substitute parts, process plans, which are your work instructions that are described by this object. So if I were to maybe open up this particular subassembly, well, then within this particular subassembly, I'm going to have some CAD and I'm going to have documents maybe that describe this part. So you can see there's my CAD file. There's no really limit here to what you can have, but it's just anything that describes it. I go to my related objects tab. It's all going to be there in this one place. Changes. It's a complete history of your products. It doesn't matter if you start on A.1 and you're on B.75. You will have a full history of all of your products with all the different versions and iterations, and you can even compare them and see all of the changes they've gone through over time. You're never going to lose that information. It's never going to disappear. It's never going to be modified. It's never going to even be looked at by someone unless they come into this and click on it. And the benefit of that then is we capture the history, but also anyone who comes into Windchill by default is going to be looking at the latest and greatest information. So if you're on 8.5, everyone's looking at 8.5, whether they know that it's the newest version or not, or whether or not they know that a change has been made, they're always going to be looking at the latest and greatest. Where used, this is one that's important because this is where, if you have, let's say, components or sub-assemblies that are used on various products and projects and on different designs, you can see where everything is being used here. So we're looking at the top level product. It's the end item. Of course, it's not going to be used anywhere else, but maybe if I went to the seat, then I would see, oh yeah, it's used on the Z lawnmower. It's used on the V lawnmower and on the B lawnmower. So I have traceability into that as well. And then the last one that I want to show you here is AML, AVL. This is all of your suppliers that you're working with. If this is something where, again, it's the top level part, I'd have to probably look at a seat or another component or something. And maybe that's a part that I'm buying. I'm not designing and manufacturing in-house. So I would have manufacturer part numbers, maybe an organization ID, other metadata too. Maybe you want to have like a cage code or something in here. You can have that in here as well. And this gives you visibility into who you're working with and what their status is in relation to this particular part. All right. So that's really what I wanted to show you as a very high level introduction to Windchill. It's going to be your product or your product lifecycle management system to manage all of the data, the metadata, the processes, changes, the whole history from start to finish of your objects, whether it's something that you design in-house like we have here, even down to something as simple as a document, right? So thanks for coming, everybody. This was an overview of the Windchill PLM system.
Also, Zach, I mean, to add, sometimes there's an issue with knowing what the right part is, because sometimes if an engineer can't find the right part quickly or whatever, they will in turn just make another one. And then what happens is you have, you know, a library of parts and you're not sure which one's the correct one or the latest one. So this really helps to manage that part data also, because with all these, you know, having multiple products that use the same parts, all the assemblies are different. This does a great job of managing it. And as a company, 3HTI, we're very proficient at helping our clients manage all this data and have it available to know that they're working with the right part. And we help our clients increase their speed to market. Like, as I said earlier, help them with innovating new products, as well as just managing everything and and helping the product development process to run a lot more smoothly. Because there's definitely an art to also setting up Windchill and helping our clients maintain it on a monthly basis so that they're getting the most out of their investment with Windchill. So thank you very much for being on today. And Zach, thank you for a great presentation and overview of Windchill PLM, which I believe is the gold standard on the market for PLM systems. So our next PLM webinar will be on the 15th of November, where we're going to look at Windchill supplier management. And we're going to get a little, I know Zach touched on it today, but we're going to get a little deeper into it. Yeah. And next Thursday, the 9th, we're going to look at it. We're going to have a Creo webinar on geometric dimensioning and tolerancing, also known as GD&T, and looking at that extension specifically for Creo. So this webinar has been recorded. I will send it out probably later today or tomorrow so that you can review the recording at your leisure. Thanks everyone for being on, and have a great afternoon. Take care.